Hello everyone and welcome to my Wild Rift tier list for patch 6.0e, the final patch for 6.0, and we are only 9 days away until patch 6.1. But I wanted to do this tier list anyway, just in case some of you want to try and climb them ranks before the big new season, the big new patch with 6.1, with new champions, new items just around the corner. But this is going to be the final tier list for this patch cycle, and not really too much has changed, more so it's to do with champions just being more broken now because champions around them got nerfed, or it's just other champions that have proven themselves to become strong enough to be in tiers that are, you know, much higher. But in terms of buffs and nerfs, I don't really think too much really changed in terms of that aspect, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. First, in the Baron lane, I just don't think anyone's stronger than Wukong right now. I'll be totally honest with you. I think Wukong is by far the strongest Baron lane champion. He doesn't really have any bad matchups. His trading potential is absolutely insane because you have Grasp, which you can just stack on minions and then use your first ability to proc on champions. You have your clone, which is really annoying to deal with. You have the third ability, which could be used to engage or disengage. And the great thing about Wukong is that if you do get ahead in lane, you're also very impactful during team fights as well, thanks to your ultimate and everything else. Your side lane presence is also not that bad as well. Most of the time you want to stay with your team, but the side lane presence is still pretty decent. Your trading's great, damage is great, tankiness is pretty decent as well, and you have tons of crowd control. Wukong is like the perfect Baron lane champion right now, and if there's ever a champion that you should be given a try in the Baron lane, it is definitely Wukong. Now, that obviously does mean that champions like Gnar and Ornn have moved down into S tier. Doesn't mean that they're weaker in any way. In my opinion, I just think Wukong is by far the best in terms of any of these other champions. Gnar did receive a bit of a nerf. I don't think it did too much. I still think he's a very strong champion. I think the problem with Gnar in general is you need a lot of setup potential from your team as well. You can't really solo carry games that much as Gnar. Of course, his numbers before were very powerful, so even a mini Gnar, you were very, very strong. But that big, massive percent health damage nerf on the second ability really hit Gnar quite a bit. And obviously, Ornn moving down, still a very strong champion in general. Aatrox also received a buff. The first ability going up is really, really huge. That's part of his main damage source that you can deal with. You've got the sweet spot as well, which you can enhance that damage on your first ability. So that overall is great. Bit of a movement speed nerf on the ultimate, but I don't think that's going to mean too much. The big difference here is that big buff on the first ability, which is going to enhance your damage by quite a bit. Definitely helps him in the Baron lane, helps him in the jungle as well. That's why I moved him up into S tier. In terms of rest of the champions in S tier, nothing has really changed. You still got champions like Dr. Mundo, Shen, Malphite, who are strong, really strong tanks to play. You still got AP champions you can play in the top lane like Rumble, Mordekaiser, Jax. On that note as well, we are working on the website of doing alternative builds. If you don't know the website, Wild Rift Fire, it's the website I do all the builds and all the tier lists on. We're going into hopefully by the end of this month, we should be able to add some alternative builds to some champions. So like Wukong, for example, I'll be able to add the jungle bruiser role, but I'll also be able to add the jungle assassin build as well. Just different builds, same role. Kind of hard to do right now, but I know a lot of people has asked for that, so I'll quickly shout that out. Hopefully, fingers crossed by the end of this month, hopefully, but I'll keep you guys updated on socials, on here and everything else as well. Moving on down to the A tier, honestly I think Teemo was not really that strong anyway. I didn't think Teemo really needed a nerf at all. He stays in A tier. He was in A tier before. He stays there. I think Teemo is completely fine. I think in, you know, some scenarios when you're against tanks especially, Teemo could be very powerful. His poke could be very annoying. And of course, your setup potential in fights can be great if you can put your shrooms down before the objective spawn. Yone buff is quite nice. I think the difficulty with Yone right now is you don't really know what role to play him. His jungle clear speed is too slow in my opinion. And yes, you can clear in the early stages. You can scale up with that extra AD health, AD growth that you're getting now. Plus the third ability cooldown is really nice in jungle, so you can make some plays. The problem with playing Baron lane or mid lane Yone is the second ability shield is not as big as what it once was. That nerf that happened, I think it was a couple of months ago now, to the second ability of Yone, meaning that he doesn't get as much shield now, means that his training potential is very, very tough. So I still think he's good in the Baron lane. I still think he could work in both the Baron lane and the mid lane, but I don't think the buffs have really pushed him up in both of them lanes. If anything, maybe pushed him up in jungle, but even then as well, I still think that the early game clear speed is too slow for you to be able to play Yone in the jungle. Other champions, oh, of course, Poppy. I completely forgot to talk about Poppy. Poppy is, well, the newest champion, not so much new, but the newest champion added to the Wild Rift roster. I haven't talked about her yet in terms of my tier list. I think Poppy's decent. I think her damage is quite decent in the early game. Her early game is actually really, really crazy. There were a few things about Poppy which I didn't know until I started playing her. One is that the enemy champions can't pick up your passive, which I think is really huge for Poppy. It means you can just walk up, pick up the shield, and you're just going to win the trades, and you just gain pressure just by walking up and picking up your shield, which is great. And of course, they didn't add the thing with the flash as well. Sometimes, I mean, before in PC League, you could stop flashes with your second ability as well, but you can't do that. But overall, I think her early game's pretty good. I just think she's pretty useless in the late game, to be fair. I just think you're more of a supportive top laner than anything. And of course, Wild Rift is a game that's super fast paced, and you need to play these carry champions to be able to carry. And Poppy just isn't that. I mean, her laning phase is great. Damage is pretty decent in the early game. But as you level up, your scaling just isn't there, unfortunately. Your damage is not there. Again, more of a setup champion. If you can push champions against the wall, great. If you can use your ultimate to knock enemy champions away and gain advantage, great. Also, I feel like sometimes the aiming on the third ability is also very off as well. Sometimes I hit the wrong champion, and I don't know if that's a me thing or maybe that's a champion thing. I'm not too sure. Trendemir as well has also moved up into A tier from B tier. Again, these buffs I don't think really did too much. I think it were just little tweaks, little buffs to his first ability and also the second ability, so not really too much there. Nasus, I tried a couple of games in Nasus. The only downside that I feel like of Nasus right now is that you just take way too long to stack, and I mean, you're just basically completely AFK. I like to have Baron laners that try to rotate towards objectives early on, especially towards a Rift Tower, which is very important. But of course, Nasus is basically, you're going to be staying in top lane for the first 10-15 minutes of the game, and then you might be able to win games. But if you don't get punished, you can scale quite well with your first ability. You can do a lot of damage. I've kept Nasus again in the A tier. These small tweaks might change when the new 6.1 patch comes out, whatever changes might happen there. But in general, they're the changes with them. Other than that, everyone else has stayed the same in A tier. Nothing has changed, and B tier has stayed the same as well with champions like Ambessa. I mean, I'm really excited about Ambessa's rework. I've really wanted to play Ambessa top lane for so long. I played Ambessa top lane when she first got released, and she just felt so good as a champion to play in top lane. So really excited to see the rework. And of course, we've got the rework happening to Garen as well, which might boost up his tier as well. That's the Baron lane. Jungle. Again, only one champion, the S+ tier, and what a surprise, it's Amumu. I don't know how this champion got untouched in the previous patch. I'll be totally honest with you. I have not got a single clue why this champion got untouched. I mean, by far the easiest and strongest champion in the game right now, without a shadow of a doubt. Incredible crowd control. Damage, even as a tank, is absolutely insane. You're a tank as well, which you're going to be taking a lot of damage. Your jungle clear speed is still very high, even after the nerf that happened a couple of weeks ago. Amumu's just the best. Again, kind of same with Baron lane. You have Wukong, must-learn champion right now if you want to climb in the last few days of the new season, or of the old season of this season, sorry. Amumu again with the jungle. If you want a champion to play, if you get auto-filled in the jungle, just pick Amumu. Such an easy champion to play. And honestly, a very easy champion to kind of learn and understand the jungle as well at the same time. So that's why Amumu is an S+ tier. Of course, that means that some of the other champions again have moved down, and all the S tier champions again are not in S tier. There's only one champion S+ tier, but that doesn't mean that champions in the S tier again are weak. Ambessa is still in S tier. I think that she's like in between S and A tier right now. I don't think maybe she's as strong as the champions in the S tier, but she's definitely stronger than some of the champions in the A tier. So I think she's like in between right now. I think even though she received a nerf a couple of weeks ago, I still think she's a champion that could really pop off and really carry if you get far ahead in the early game. I don't think there's anything else too much. Oh, I moved Nunu back up into S tier as well. I mean, as a tank jungler, Nunu is pretty good in his ulti zone control. Also, I got my jungle objective stolen by a Nunu, so many damn times. So if you want to secure objectives, just pick Nunu. Your smite plus your first ability does like 1.8k damage, and that's higher than any other jungler. So if you want to secure objectives and steal objectives, and you can pick a Mumu. Of course, you know, everyone else in the S tier has pretty much stayed the same. Champions like Neela, who is still very strong, especially in lower elos, and if you can farm up early, Neela could be very strong. Warwick is still up here as well. Wukong, of course, I mean, Wukong could easily move up into the S plus tier. If there were a champion that I would pick out of this S tier, it would definitely be Wukong moving up in the S plus tier. I mean, this champion overall is just completely broken. Even in the jungle, you're just such a strong champion. But yeah, S tier pretty much stayed the same. A tier, Zed has moved down from S to A tier. His jungle clear speed wasn't that fast before, and now it's even slower now, so Zed is definitely going to be hit quite a bit by that. And of course, his damage output got hit by a lot as well from his third ability, the subsequent damage or the multiplicative damage that you get on the third ability. If you hit a champion with multiple third abilities at the same time, that damage has been reduced, so it really hurts his combo in general to try and burst champions. But yeah, Zed in general, still pretty, you know, decent champion to play. Again, one of them champions that you need to get ahead. You need to try and get out of farming and try and roam around and gank as much as possible. Trendemir moved up as well. I'm pretty sure he was in B tier before, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was in B tier. Yes, he was in B tier. So Trendemir's moved up again to A tier. Again, similar to what I said with Baron Lane, with Trendemir, pretty decent. Not that bad. Nice buff as well. The buff definitely helps him in the jungle as well with his jungle clear speeds. So yeah, it's quite nice. Yone, of course, still in A tier as well with the changes that I said to him. I still think he's a decent jungler, but his early jungle clear speed is just a bit too slow. Nothing else here. Oh, Nars moved down to B tier. No, I think Nar jungle is just not a thing anymore, unfortunately. Nar jungle was the thing when he first came out, but now I might just delete the role and delete the jungle, like the jungle build completely, because the problem is, before his jungle clear speed was decent because you had that % health damage, which was able to kill jungle camps very, very fast with your second ability. Now it's been nerfed by quite a bit. His jungle clear speed is very slow now. So yeah, Nars moved down into B tier. And Nautilus also moved down into B tier as well. In terms of like burst heavy champions, Nautilus is just not it, unfortunately. But other than that, everything else in the jungle has stayed the same. And guess what? We move into mid lane. Same again, one champion dominating it all in the S plus tier. I mean, Baron, jungle, and mid are the only roles that I have one champion in the S plus tier. You could probably question me and say, like, you know, some of these champions deserve to move up into S plus tier. Again, Baron lane, you can think of champions like Rumble, who's a really good AP champion. Ornn is a very good tank. Same with Shen as well. Obviously, as I mentioned with jungle, Wukong could easily go into S plus tier. Same with mid lane as well. There are champions in S tier that can easily move up into S plus tier. I've just moved Syndra down in general because the thing with Victor, sorry, I'm feeling a bit under the weather. The thing with Victor is he has so much scaling. He has incredible movement speed. He has great self-peeling. He has burst damage. He has everything that you need with a mage. And his build is pretty good as well. He does so much damage. He's safe during the laning phase. Victor is just very, very strong right now. So I don't think a lot of people would be surprised that Victor is alone in the S plus tier. But again, S tier champions are pretty decent. I moved Corki down. Corki's still good in the mid lane, but just not S plus tier in my opinion. It's much stronger in the dual lane because you have the setup potential of your support and your protectiveness of the support as well. Of course, Syndra is also very good, but just isn't as strong in terms of scaling compared to Victor. But I mean, mid lane is going to change completely next patch. Ori is going to be insane next patch, probably. Brand is going to be a lot stronger with Malignance as well. Caston's going to be stronger. The new Bandle Fantasy item looks like a great Syndra item. So there's going to be a lot of changes, I think, in 6.1 in terms of build and also champions and everything as well. Yeah, that's always great to see. Everything else in the S tier pretty much stayed the same. I don't think anything else has changed. Oh, Veigar as well moved up into S tier as well. We talk about scaling mid laners. I mean, this is basically all the champions in the S tier right now. Ori, great scaling. Morgana, great scaling. Ori, great scaling. Morgana scaling. Heimerdinger scaling. Swain, Syndra, and also Veigar's on that list as well. Veigar's kind of a champion that I kind of slept on a little bit, but Veigar can honestly go hand in hand with some of these great mid lane scaling champions. And once you reach the mid lane game, these mages are just way too powerful. Way, way too powerful. Down to the A tier. Lux, of course, received a bit of nerf, passive nerf, second ability nerf, and also first ability nerf. I still think she's a great champion to play in the mid lane, especially in lower elos as well. A lot of people don't respect Lux as much in the mid lane. They walk up, they disrespect, and you can easily catch players off guard. But I think the higher elo you go, the harder it gets for you to try and pull off Lux in mid, especially with some of these nerfs as well. Your burst damage got a little bit lower, your wave clear got a little bit lower as well, and also your survivability with your second ability. Still a good champion to play though. Of course, A tier is still strong champions. A tier is still good champions to play. So that's why, you know, Lux has stayed there for now. So Lux is sitting in A tier. Yone was in B tier before, I believe, but I moved him up into A tier as well. As I mentioned, mid lane Yone a bit stronger now because you have the cooldown with a third ability, so you can get a little bit extra playmaking potential, and also the AD growth means you scale a little bit less base, a little bit there. If I can get my words out, a little bit better into the mid and the late game as well. I think that's everything with A tier. Zed stays in A tier, of course, as the mid laner. I think Zen mid lane still works, but I think the nerf definitely hurt him. But he wasn't in S tier before, in my opinion. He was S tier jungle before, but he wasn't S tier in mid lane. So he was in A tier before. He stays in A tier. And I moved Yasuo down as well because I just don't think Yasuo has the same playmaking potential at the moment. And too many of these mages are too annoying for Yasuo to deal with in terms of just crowd control and top blocking Yasuo all the time. And of course, B tier are all the champions that are not very strong right now. They're viable champions. You can probably still make them work. But in general, they are not too great. I probably need to use C tier more. What champions here that I moved down into C tier? Probably Irelia. Irelia, Karma, Seraphine probably. I could move down into C tier. I probably need to use C tier more. Yeah, see, I have a lot of champions in... Oh no, I don't have a lot of champions here in B tier. But roles that I have a lot of champions in B tier, like this as well, like I should probably move champions down to C tier. Like Nara is probably C tier right now. But it feels bad because I don't feel like a lot of champions deserve to be in C tier because most champions can actually carry games. But anyway, that's a mid lane tier list. Moving into dual lane, no single... I was very tempted. I was very, very tempted to just put Corki in S+ tier and just call it a day. Move Severe and Varus down and just call it a day. I actually have no changes at all in this dual lane. I think there's actually one change, which is Zeri moving down from S to A. There might even be two. I think Nilai also moved down to B to C, but that should have been done ages ago. Yeah, the only changes I've done is moving Zeri down from S to A. I think the only thing with Zeri is that she's very difficult to master and she's very difficult to play. Of course, with how her auto attacks work, they're very different to every other champion, and you cannot focus on one singular champion. You have to focus on your front line all the time. So yeah, I think Zeri, in terms of how difficult she is to play and how much she can carry, not too great. Yeah, like I said, I was tempted to put Corki in S+ tier, move the other two down, but honestly, these two are on par with Corki right now. Varus, of course, have been strong for such a long time. And talking of the changes that I'm doing on the website, Varus is like the best champion to do it because I have one build on this site right now, which is this like kind of the AP flex sort of Chinese build, but you have the AD lethality build, you have the on hit build that you can go. There's like 3 or 4 different builds that you can go on Varus. So hopefully we can implement that on the website so I can show you all the best builds of all, you know, all different ways of how to play Varus. So you have like full AP build as well, which kind of this is what this is, to be fair. Yeah, thought I'd mention that. Severe is also very good as well. Of course, great team fighting, great wave clearing, great damage potential, overall superb. And of course, Corki, ever since the rework and the buff, has been the strongest champion. No, without a shadow of a doubt. Very much paired with, you know, champions that are very strong with tank supports, allows him to hit his abilities much easier. S tier still champions that are very strong. Misfortune, Jin, Ezreal, and Xayah. Still, all of these champions are very strong. And if you don't want to play any of the S+ tier champions, just pick the S tier champions. They're fine. A tier as well. I mean, Kai'Sa, of course, has potential to carry, but isn't really that strong. Jinx the same as well. Caitlyn, Lucian. You know, these are champions that in the right scenario can carry, but in general is just pretty, you know, pretty weak compared to S and S+ tier. B tier, of course, weak, and then C tier as well. We're also getting a Kalista rework, which I'm pretty excited about as well. Well, they said adjustment to Kalista, so I hope this changes her because, yeah, she sucks right now. I'm moving into support. Don't listen to anyone that says that Yuumi and Lulu is the most broken support in the game. It's completely false. It's the dumbest statement I think I've heard. It's so easy to just win lane against Lulu and Yuumi that you can just pick any sort of tank support or engage support. The reason why a lot of people think Yuumi and Lulu are OP is because they sit in laning phase and they are just completely AFK. They don't play aggressive. They don't zone out and try and get ahead in the early game. They don't zone them ahead of minions. They just sit in lane. They push the wave and they're like, well, why is Lulu and Yuumi winning every single game? It's because they outscale. Their scaling is insane. Their shielding and healing potential is insane. But how to beat Lulu and Yuumi is playing aggressive during the early game. As I mentioned, zoning them off of minions, diving underneath towers, making sure that you can actually get advantages and win trades and get your jungler to come and help as well. You know, these are the main things of why Lulu and Yuumi is OP. But on that same note, I think by far the best enchanter support right now is Milio. Not only does he have the healing and shielding that the likes of Lulu and Yuumi has, also has pretty much an inbuilt cleanse with the ultimate, has knockback as well with the first ability, and the second ability is one of the most broken abilities in the game. Increasing the attack range of your AD carry is so powerful. Whether you're playing, you know, Caitlyn for the increased range, you also have Lucian as well, which can definitely benefit from that a lot. Severe, Misfortune, Jin, you know, so many of these AD carries benefit from the extra long range, and Milio is one of the best of that. Milio is very strong right now as at trying to peel for your AD carries, and of course the inbuilt cleanse as well is so huge. Whenever you get hit by crowd control, whenever your ADC gets hit by crowd control, just use your ultimate and they can get away to safety. Speaking of how to beat Lulu and Yuumi and every single other enchanter support, Blitzcrank. I mean, I've always put like everyone in S tier in support right now, but I think that people need to understand how strong Blitzcrank actually is, and he's not the best in every scenario, as I mentioned, every single tier list. If you're against tanks, you can still make plays because you can still hook, I don't know, the jungler, which might be squishy, the mid laner, or any other champion. You just got to notice on the enemy team who you've got to hook, who you've got to focus, who you've got to run down. Do I have to peel for my team? Do I have to play aggressive? Do I have to be on the front line? Do I have to be on the back line? There are so many decisions that you have to make with Blitzcrank, and making the right decision is what makes Blitzcrank so damn strong right now. The pick potential, the crowd control, everything that you have in Blitzcrank's kit. And again, he's really strong against the likes of Lulu, Soraka, Yuumi, Milio, Seraphine, Luxone, any of these enchanter supports. If you get picked, if you are against any of them, then just pick Blitzcrank. It's well, I wouldn't say it's a free win unless you miss your hooks, but overall it's a very strong champion. And of course, as I mentioned, Milio being the strongest support right now is why I've moved him up into S+ tier. In terms of S tier champions, these champions are still really strong. Of course, Lux is still in S tier as well. In terms of Lux, I mean, her damage is, you know, being nerfed is pretty harsh for her in terms of the support role, but I still think she's great as a support. Again, more of a low elo pick, but it's in terms of just disrespecting and getting carry potential games in for Lux, which is great. You have burst damage still, you have the shielding, which can help, which is great. And that's pretty much all else to say. Tank supports, other tank supports are still here as well. Ornn is still one of the most underrated supports to play. Such a good champion to play. Of course, you have Pyke if you want to play carry role, or even Lux and Sona, which are Seraphine and Sona, which are still very good enchanters. A tier, not really anything has changed. I've just moved Alistar down from A tier to from S tier to A tier, sorry. Just knocking out one person. If you can knock out multiple people, Alistar can be useful, but knocking out one person, and this is one of the things as well, is like with like these enchanter supports being so annoying right now, Alistar is basically AFK throughout the whole game because you can't headbutt pulverize a Lulu, a Soraka, or a Seraphine because they're just going to stand too far away from you. And if they don't, if you can headbutt pulverize a Lulu, Janna, Seraphine, then they're just playing the game wrong. So yeah, I kind of put it in that aspect. A tier is all there. Poppy in B tier, I just don't think she's good at support either. I just think she's balanced overall. I think she's decent in Baron lane. She's basically not even a jungler anymore because some people tried it, but I don't think she's a jungler at all. Support, she can work, but I think she only works against these tank supports, which most of the time, as I mentioned, people are picking these Lulu, Yuumis, Milios, these enchanter supports, which Poppy's terrible against. You don't want to play Poppy against any of these enchanter supports. That's pretty much everything. Again, as always, if you have any questions, if you have any theories, if you want to talk about the game at all, if you want to talk about the tier list, please let me know down in the comments. So let me know what you're excited about for patch 6.1. It's only a few days away. I'll be updating my website, so the content might be a little bit slow. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Take care of yourselves. Have a good rest of the day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.